Hi, I'd like to talk for a few moments about thought, about our thinking, and the nature of thought. So, thought is a sensory process of all the information that we take in through our taste buds, through our sense of smell, touch, hearing, sight. And that makes sense of and creates via thought our experience of our moment to moment life. Now, when our thinking about an experience changes, so does our experience. We can't ever have an experience without having thought about that experience. And the thing is with thought, it's like water. It's fluid, it's seamless, it can just enter all the little cracks of our experience and change it without us even knowing that it's being filled. And as long as we spend some time in a thought, focusing on a thought, as if that was our reality, as if that was actually really true, the longer that reality and experience stays true. I'm sure we've all had the experience of being angry at somebody or frustrated at somebody, and then a few days or a few weeks later we've looked back and just thought, what was all that about? Yet at that moment in time it seemed really true. And our thinking can get quite busy, can get quite messy, can get quite a little bit like the haystack of just, we can't see where one thing starts and one thing finishes. It can just layer and layer and layer. And when we trust our thought, and only our thought, to guide us through our life, we can find ourselves in sticky situations. We can find ourselves in situations that last so much longer than they need to. And as a professional, we can have our thinking about how we're working with somebody, and yet it's always helpful to always step back and question that and notice we are, where we're truly understanding a person's experience and when we are joining the dots ourselves and adding 2 and 2 and coming up with 5. Now, we can't control our thinking. We can never control any thought that we have that comes into our mind. Try it. Wait for a second now and just notice how long it is before a completely individual thought comes into your mind. Yes, there's influence of what's going on in the world. We influence with each other. However, our transient nature of a thought and the nature of the way thought is the energy behind the universe, is just the fact that nothing stays the same. It moves, it moves, it moves. And when we get into a situation that is quite, can feel really tricky, can feel stuck, that's when we listen to our spark. Our spark is without doubt the bright, the shining, the direction of which to go. Our spark is always there. Our spark is never not with us. It is us. And knowing that we have got, and everybody has got, their own spark, their own knowing, their own knowledge, their own wisdom, means that everybody has got the capacity and the abilities to know what to do in their own circumstances and their own situations. And sometimes, as a professional, all our job is actually to help, and usually not sometimes, is to just help the other person uncover their own spark. Because that spark can be the quieter voice, where the thinking can be the quite loud, noisy voice. And just knowing that and trusting that we know what to do when we allow ourselves to settle, when our thoughts settle and our feelings settle and our emotions settle, that spark, without exception, is always there. We all have it. And when we listen to that spark, it could come in the form of a feeling, a knowing, a knowledge of just doing, knowing what to do. It can come as a niggling thought that just says, you know what, really, that's not the right road to take. But it's always there. And when we take a little time and trust ourselves and our clients that they have their own spark, their own wisdom, their own spark that will lead and guide and show them their way, then that's a different story, that's a different conversation, that's a different experience of how we are with clients, of how we are with people that we work with, how we are with ourselves. Nobody needs fixed, nobody's broken, and everybody has their own thought, their own thinking, their own spark.